Geopolitics and Empire is joined by returning guest James Kunstler, or Jim, prolific American author, thinker, lecturer, commentator, and podcaster. He has with great accuracy been prognosticating the American zeitgeist for decades, in my opinion. Some listeners will be familiar with his work, and those that aren't, you must go to kunstler.com, subscribe to the Kunstlercast podcast, his newsletter, and get some of his books. Thanks for returning to Geopolitics and Empire. Jim, it's been a year since we first spoke. How is life in the Northeast as we watch our civilization collapse and descend into tyranny?
Boy, that's a loaded question. It's not as much of a vivid panoramic fiasco as it would be if you were living in Dallas or Washington, D.C. or L.A. I happen to live in a flyover corner of America. My little town of 2,500 people is an old factory village with no factories left.
You must be wondering where the rest of this interview is. From here on out, many future Geopolitics and Empire podcast interviews will no longer be posted to the YouTube platform due to censorship. They are simply too hot to handle. However, you can easily find all the full-length podcast interviews on platforms that do not censor. For video, you can go to the Geopolitics and Empire channels over at Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, or Brighteon. For audio, you can go to SoundCloud or wherever podcasts are found, such as Apple, Spotify, Google, or countless other podcast platforms. You can also bookmark geopoliticsandempire.com or subscribe to the newsletter to be reminded of every new podcast interview. I need your help in migrating away from Pentagon Tube, so please find Geopolitics and Empire on other platforms and subscribe there. See you on the other side.